بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Your brother Najib here, and today we are back right here at the DEEN Love Studio, where we got the DEEN Lovers Podcast. Back with the team, back with the brothers, mashallah. We're back at it today with another highly should I say crazy? No, intense topic today.
Yes, sir.
Interesting.
Very interesting topic today. And we got Uthman in the building, Idris. Should I say the name? Okay, Idris said the Royal Akhi is long dead.
2019.
That was 2019 now?
Yeah.
What, the Royal Akhi was what?
2020 is, that was 2019. 2020 is something else.
New name, yeah. We're waiting for the new official Idris name.
It's going through my team right now. They're trying to make it official.
Oh, we're waiting. It's going to be a big debut that's going to be coming out.
MashaAllah.
All right, guys. Today, inshallah, we always love to bring you guys the most relevant, intense, much-needed topics at hand. And that's what the DEEN Lovers Podcast is all about. Make sure you always give us your feedback on really what you would love to hear on the podcast. And Brother Uthman today made us the tea of the century right here. Yeah, this Idris was like, this tastes more like medicine. The good medicine. It got that ginger. It got that. What else is in the tea?
Don't worry about it right now.
It's not Somali tea, though. It's not.
When I market it, then everybody will know.
Then everybody's going to be like, yo, we want some of that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be intense. Yeah, you guys, maybe someday, inshallah, this could be another 500. Yeah.
Who knows?
It's going to be, inshallah, let's get going today. We got today a very intense topic, and it is about marriage, dating, the essentials, the guidelines of the mu'min and the Muslim in regards to this topic. It's a very much needed topic due to the fact that there's been a lot of different things circulating around this topic. And as the young generation of Muslims that we are growing in different parts of the world and in the West, sometimes a lot of things, there might be some confusion in them, especially something as huge and important as marriage and finding a life partner and so on and so forth, and family and so on. These are some of the key essentials that is from the Quran and Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ, anytime he used to see the young people, he would advise them to get married whoever can, especially as soon as possible. This is one of the strongest from the Sunnah and the ways of the Deen, is that a person, is fast into marriage as long as they have the capacity and the momentum to do so, physically, financially, mentally, so on and so forth. But there seems to be a lot of confusion. So today it's not going to be the normal discussion to have about marriage. It's going to be a little bit more detailed on a different edge here. But in general, everybody knows marriage is a much needed, it's a great life to live, and it's really the benefits and so on. Maybe another time, Salah, maybe we'll add some benefits today. But Idris, let's open up the floor and talk about before marriage. Idris, what have we noticed to be some of the really best practices in finding a partner for marriage?
Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil mursaleen. Before marriage, the problem with, a lot of Muslims today is the young people. It's very important to model your life after the Prophet ﷺ, right? So if you want answers, his life, this is a man literally that's like a map. Anything you want in life, he's the answer, right? He's the only man that his life, the last 23 years of his life when he became a prophet up to his death, if you want to live like a rich person, there's a time he was rich. If you're a poor person, there's a time to model yourself after him because he was poor. If you're somebody that is under oppression, there's a time he was oppressed. So 23 years, there's a guideline for everything. If you're single, there's a path to follow because there's a time he was single. Right? If you want to get married and if you want to model yourself to be a good husband, then you follow his footsteps because he got married, right? We can't model ourselves after Nabi Isa because Nabi Isa alayhi salam never got married, right? You can't model yourself after some of the other prophets like Sulaiman because he was a king, right? So only kings can model themselves after him. So this man is literally a blueprint. So the first thing is take a step back and learn the life of the Prophet ﷺ. Make yourself someone that everything that you go through in life, you want to deal with it the way he dealt with it. So before he got married, he was working, right? And as you all know, he had the best character. So he built his entire life up to 25 years. he was just, he had the best character, trustworthy, honest, always spoke the truth, right? Never broke his promises. So try to implement that part in your life until you get married, inshallah, right? And of course, he started working. He was a shepherd. He started working for Khadija, his wife to be. So that also tells you gotta work, right? Unfortunately, today what our brothers do, they play 2K, right? Then one day they wake up, they tell their mom, I want to get married. Mom looks at him like, what are you talking about? Yesterday you were playing video games, today you want to get married. So you have to follow, in all honesty, his footsteps is the best footsteps. So work and hustle, save up money, build your character, work on yourself. Then inshallah you will find someone.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. Uthman, what have you seen to be some of the best practices in looking for a spouse, a life partner, seeking marriage, or some of the key habits maybe you saw that we kind of took from the non-Muslim culture that we live in that are seeping into or creeping into the Muslim culture?
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala. I think our brother Idris, he had comprehensively tackled that, just the basics of the qualities and who should be our guide to follow in the bab of marriage. But I want to emphasize just on one point that he made, Jazahullah khairan, was that the characteristics and developing yourself before you marry, right? Because some people think, well, okay, I know she doesn't pray, I know he doesn't pray, but after we marry, then we'll pray together, right? Majiruhas, there's no such thing.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have those sort of qualities before,
Yeah.
mannerisms or deen itself, then by the time you get married, that's when the game started. It makes no sense to start practicing when it's game day.
Yeah.
Right. You're supposed to practice way before. So developing those characters are key in order to have a successful marriage, and also to have a successful appointment of your spouse. Right. You have to know what you need to look for, right, in order to have your best potential spouse. And then also at the same time, because I know a lot of times we forget about ourselves.
For sure.
So if you yourself haven't met those standards, we have a lot of brothers like, oh, she needs to be, like this with the Quran, and she needs to have knowledge, and she needs to speak Arabic, Fusha, she needs to do all these things, and she needs to be wearing hijab and niqab, but the brother doesn't do anything. Like we mentioned, FIFA brothers and 2K brothers, right?
They want to marry the best sister out there.
Right. They want the best thing, but they have absolutely nothing to offer to her. So it just doesn't work that way. And in marriages that do happen that way, there's a lot of oppression that comes about. And then for the second part, what are some things that our community strays away? What are some of the qualities that we develop from outside communities, or we try to inherit from outside communities? Well, we do a lot of things that are impermissible, right? We break the guidelines or the boundaries. We transgress against them. Like what? Dating. Oh, we're going to get married. It's okay. We're just trying to get to know each other. So I'm going to take her out to IHOP, and, we're going to, for a couple months, we're just going to be cozying together and all those things. But don't worry, it's okay. We're going to get married. That's one thing that's popular in our community, in our society that we live in today, that is impermissible. You're not allowed to do that, right? Because there's many harms that come about. There's many things that can happen and do happen oftentimes. Yeah. And then what happens? The sister comes, and she comes to the sheikh, and she says, look, something happened, but I need fatwa for abortion. Subhanallah.
Subhanallah.
Right? So, to preserve the honor and the dignity and the respect of both parties, we have it so that it's done according to the guidelines of the Sharia. Getting to know each other, getting to know each other's parents to make it serious. You guys are serious. You guys can go on dates, right? As long as there's a mahram, there with you, and they were also going to talk about this too, because sometimes, I spoke to my sheikh about this many times, and it sounds like the most impossible thing to do today.
Yeah.
Like awkward. You have a guy, the father's going to be sitting where you're sitting, I'm talking to her, and he's just like, okay, go ahead, talk. So it gets, this is the mind, this is a view perspective that people have, and some families you do this, right?
Yeah.
Which makes it even harder.
Make it difficult.
Very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So, but all in all, there's many different aspects in which we try to take from outside communities, and we try to use in our communities, which causes a lot of problems.
Yeah. One key thing I noticed in regards to before marriage things is that some people do try this friendship route, and anytime that's the card they use when they're hanging out and doing all these different things that they shouldn't be doing. Oh, we're just friends. There was this incident where it happened to a sister. She said, I was always looking out for this brother, and some of his family members died or something, and he fell off life, and she was there to support him. And then one day he changed. He started doing better. He came over to her house to be like, hey, thank you for being there for me. You were, you looked out for me, type of thing.
Yeah.
Brother came in. They were all alone. Something happened. He left. Sister got pregnant. She can't marry the guy because he's from a different quote unquote nationality. Her family will not let her get married to the guy. And then afterwards, she's like, he's 3 years younger than me. And the excuse at the end that she gave, because she was looking for help for a way out of this, was that he was like a brother to me. I never thought this would happen. These, what are your thoughts on the brother card? Or some guys giving the excuse of just, hanging out with sisters, throwing the potential card.
Yeah, and this is strictly for the Muslim listeners.
For sure.
The non-Muslim listeners, they won't understand this because they live by different rules.
Absolutely.
So
that's beautiful.
Right. So this is only for Muslim listeners that believe in Allah. Right?
Yeah.
If you believe in Allah and you're a believer, you're a Muslim, Allah commands, you do. Right. Allah tells you stay away, you stay away. So we have people who are shocked when things happen that they weren't supposed to do. Right. Clearly, it's wrong to be alone with a guy. Allah already knew, right? The reason why Allah told you is because He knew something is going to happen.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's like someone, on the Tylenol pills, it tells you don't take more than this.
Yeah.
Imagine someone takes more than what they're supposed to do. Something bad is going to happen.
For
but
sure.
nobody's going to be shocked. Oh my goodness, how did we all know, right? So, and in today's world, that's an extreme example.
Yeah.
Like it happens, but it's very extreme. Today, what happens is something like a sister and a brother go to the movie theater, or they hang out. And then the sister, now she, this whole Me Too movement is going on. So, this brother did this to me, right? This brother touched me this way, or he harassed me this way. It happens. And a lot of sisters, they avoid, especially the sister, because, and I mean, me personally, I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
I'm a controversial guy, but I like to stick to the basics, the principles. The first question is, sister, what were you doing alone with a guy?
Yeah.
Right, that's the first thing.
Yeah.
And if you ask her, were you wrong for doing this, she'll admit it.
Yeah.
Right. So nowadays, what people try to do is they try to make it seem like that's not wrong.
Yeah.
A girl and a guy being alone. The shaitan, what he's trying to do is he's trying to make us believe that this is not wrong.
Yeah.
What's wrong is what happened after. No, they're both wrong. That's worse, yes, but that wouldn't have happened if you guys were not
all alone together.
Right. So I think we can get rid of these problems in society just by merely separating, and staying away from places we shouldn't be.
For sure.
Not being alone with the opposite gender, being friends with the opposite gender.
Absolutely.
Right. So, and a lot of guys mask under that. Right. Some guys are actually monsters. And the sad part is the girls know this.
Yeah.
They scream every day, men are trash, men are monsters, yet they befriend men.
Trash that are monsters.
Right? It doesn't make sense. So the same men that you befriend are the same ones later that will take advantage of you, that will do these things to you.
How about this?
Right?
How about this? Oh, that's just we're cousins.
Yeah.
The
cousin card,
we always hang out. It's, we grew up with each other.
Yeah. So we've seen it before. So it's very sad.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, things need to be set the way they are.
Yeah.
We can't try to hide and try to.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, we need to get back to the principles, and that's why I mentioned Muslims.
Yeah.
Right. Because all the Muslims would have to agree with me that a woman that's not your mahram, you cannot be alone with her.
Yeah.
Right. So if we agree that that's wrong, let's work on not making this happen. And then we'll see.
Actually, Jazakallah khair for pointing that out. But that reminded me, even non-Muslims are even starting to take on board some of these principles.
For sure.
Because of movements like the Me Too movement. Well, and also, by the way, we do know that sometimes sisters, they do get abused.
A lot of times.
Of course.
This doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
We're not saying that this doesn't happen when we mention the Me Too movement, but we're mentioning this because there's also aspects about it that are cynical, aspects about it that are pretty disingenuous.
For sure.
Because there's these things become weaponized later on in society
especially today.
When a dominant image gets put out, like the poster child is men are abusers, women are not.
Yeah.
So then what happens is people, they masquerade around this, like the brother was talking about.
Yeah.
And then this is where issues like this that you thought, brother thought, hey, look, I thought we were just hanging out. I have text messages right here. We were always cool. What happened? Now you're saying I abuse you.
I didn't give you consent. Yeah.
There you go. These things happen, right? These things happen, and we have to acknowledge this, right? But even non-Muslims today, they're starting to implement these rules.
Yeah.
That
for safety
Islam,
precautions,
exactly, that Islam actually condones and promotes.
I actually wanted to do I was like, there has to be a research done. There, St. Catherine, I believe, is an all-women school.
Yeah.
I was wondering, there has to be a research done on how many sexual harassment cases have been reported in St. Catherine compared to like a school like the U of M, which is a public school.
Actually, that would be a good
research to do.
Research study.
And I know, and then people always, just because it is not reported, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But we're just talking about things that were reported.
Because we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Whatever
but the ones that were reported,
yeah.
I would love to see a research done on a school like St. Catherine, just on school grounds. I'm not talking about like the subway 2 blocks off.
No.
Just a school where there's all girls and very minimal men. I don't even know if they're probably professors.
There's a couple of professors. I've actually been there before. Don't ask me why.
What are you doing there? I'm glad.
I've been there before, but it's they have some male professors.
Yeah, for sure. So that would be something cool to see. That research between those two, a public school like that is mixed genders, and the one where it's only girls, and kind of relate and see if the solution actually might be to separate genders in schools and things like that. But obviously, teaching our young men it's obvious.
Yeah.
Right? That's why I said I'm speaking of Muslims. No Muslim in their right mind teaches their son to go do this to women. Nobody does.
No.
So,
but a key thing I noticed is, especially in the society that we live in, all the means for things to go wrong are created. Mm-hmm. And then only the end result, like you guys were mentioning earlier, is the crime. But you have the drugs, you have the alcohol, you have the party, you have people who are mentally gone, all in the same place.
All in that whole equation is ignored. And then
the end result, when something does go wrong, somebody who's not mentally stable, a girl or a guy, is taken advantage of, then a crime happened.
Absolutely.
So so the Muslim really has to be intelligent on how to navigate through these things, because
that's why I said Muslims, because we live in a non-Muslim land. So the non-Muslims, it's gonna, they don't understand it. But as Muslims, you have to understand you have guidelines that are different from somebody who's not a Muslim. Like a non-Muslim can go to a party and expect not to be, raped or whatnot.
These things are clear for us, but sometimes
there's confusion.
There's confusion, but I do feel like sometimes there is a sort of muddying the waters with us. Trying to make the lines seem blurred. You're like, it's just everybody's doing it. So, but just to go back on some of the things that non-Muslims are doing to implement these, you have actors who are not even touching women when they're in pictures anymore. They take pictures of girls, right? I'm not going to mention them, but they do this. Just outline their body. They don't even touch them, right? Because things like this. Businesses, many workplaces now are required to have doors open when they're in
behind closed doors and stuff.
So we're not doing any of that. And these are why, like all these things that are happening, these issues are the reason why Islam has those guidelines between the opposite genders.
this is a very foundational moment. Something I always discuss when I'm at giving talks or halaqat or so on and so forth, is kind of the respectful honor and dignity line between men and women in Islam.
Yeah.
Really, you know what I mean? And we had that discussion in the halaqat that of, you know what I mean, how some of these, when the boundary is not clear, how it could lead to these accusations and truthful abusive situations.
definitely.
I mean,
Forget
it
about
can lead
touching.
to it,
Islam calls for men lowering their gaze.
Yeah.
Look at how far ahead Islam is.
Subhanallah.
Right?
Wow.
In the next 10 years, maybe you'll see laws that say, you know, men shouldn't look at women in public. But Islam been set that 1400 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? So while people are calling Islam backwards, it's
Yeah.
truly proven that it's the religion that's far, far ahead.
Yeah. But to them, the Muslim has to understand the psychological, mental state of mind behind how the society that we live in thinks. They think this is some type of sexual liberation, not knowing this is used for some type of political control so that people can be controlled. All you have to do to them is control and have them submit to their desires, to their shahwa. And they're easily controlled. So the solution to all these issues is getting married quickly. And this is the point that really where the discussion was heading, which was, if you're a young person and you see all of this fisq and fahisha and all these things that are happening around you, the quickest and easiest way, because we know you have shahwa. Every human being has desires and temptations, sexually especially.
Age, absolutely.
For sure. So, but a lot of people, they just make excuses and say, I'm not ready for marriage, but rather I'm ready for everything else. They won't say that directly, but when you talk to them about marriage, all the time when I go to university to talk about marriage, they're like, what? I'm not ready for that. But then you see them also doing the opposite things that are haram, but something halal, they're like, I'm not ready for it. What are your thoughts on that?
That's the shaitan doing that. That's not really them. That's the shaitan telling them, you know, you're not ready yet. You're not, you know, you're not done with school yet. It's going to distract you. So it's very sad, but that's the tricks of the shaitan. And once you realize that, then you actually, because it takes it, you know, for instance, again, I'm talking to Muslims, right? People that this has to be in context. If a Muslim brother is dating a Muslim sister, that Muslim brother, 10 out of 10 times, he's not really serious about this girl.
Right? That's true.
If he's serious, he would have went up to the father, the mother.
I like how you
family,
said 10,
right?
10
out of 10 times, Usually it's 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10 times he's not serious. Right? The sister, all she has to say is, hey, if you're serious about me, come talk to my mom and dad. Tell them that you're serious. No, you know, I got an appointment that day. He's gonna make up excuses. So the sister right away should know this guy's not serious. Then she should cut this guy off. Right? Because that's what a man does. A man will go up. Hey, I'm serious about your daughter. I want to get married, even if he doesn't have money. But I'm gonna start saving up. This is what I'm gonna do. Right? One thing in this society is, one thing it does is it dumbs people down. Right? There's a certain age for everything. You got to be 18 to graduate high school or to drive. You got to be 21 to drink, right?
Unbelievable.
So, a human being naturally, he goes around these things like, oh, you gonna restrict me? No, I'm not gonna drink before that. So Islam says, yo, if you're 9, if you're 10, you know, you're supposed to be a man. Right? A 10-year-old in some countries is a man,
of course,
built like a man. Right, whereas in today's society,
I would say 10, probably like 13,
14. Well, 10 is the extreme, 10, rare cases.
10, we're teenagers.
So, but you get what I'm saying. Very young age, they're
very responsible.
Very responsible. Right, they're cooking for themselves. They're working. You can do that here. Right, absolutely. From a young age, you could be a high schooler working. I ask some of the high schoolers we work with, what's stopping you from working? My mom. You have to be a man. You have to man up. You know, if you actually cut out the things you're doing. And it was interesting, there's a reading I was doing about, and it's another long topic, but childhood. One of the inventions of like the 18th century was childhood. Before the 18th century, there was no such thing as childhood. Everybody was just adults. Wow. So the 8-year-old was learning how to be an adult. The 9-year-old, 7-year-old, they were all learning how to be. There was no such thing as childhood. But then when childhood came into play, you had kids playing with toys, right?
Became a whole industry.
Becoming childish. Then when does the kid learn how to become an adult? When he becomes an adult. That's what they want you to learn. Right? It's too late. Right? So when you have these kids saying, I'm too young or I can't, what they're really saying is I've never prepared. So you have to start from a young age. And some of us, you know, you just got to man up. You got to be like, yo, you know, I'm not in high school anymore. This is a different part of my life. You know, I'm going to focus. I'm going to stay focused on school. If I want a girl, I'm going to save up, get married. You know, find a girl, talk to her parents. You know, you actually have to man up and do that. It takes a lot of guts.
Athman, what are your thoughts on some people when you tell them about the process, halal way of getting married, they get really, really shocked. They're like, what? Are you kidding me? What do you think causes that fear or that level of, there's comfort in doing things the haram way, but doing it the halal way is kind of difficult for some reason?
I think, this is one of the sort of defenses, the walls people put up, into justifying why they have girlfriends or they go out, together in movies and they say, hey, everybody who's come. And it's that, the halal ways is too much, it seems too difficult. Like, you talk to, and there may be an element where there's truth to it. Right? There's grievances that are valid when you go to parents, because some parents, they do everything that, or some children, they do everything that, or some men, they do everything that we just mentioned, go to parents respectfully, approach and inquire, make the khutbah, and they get shot down for artificial reasons.
Of course.
Right. Yeah. And because we live in a country where it's not just one ethnic population anymore. No. It's everybody. Yes. All the Muslims came from different places. So you're going to have probably one person trying to cross the line, and then
cross the boundary,
they see like, oh well, he's not from us, and they'll shoot down whatever hopes that he had. And then what happens is, people, they hear about these sort of stories and then they use this as a justification. Well, I heard one time a guy actually did everything that you said, but then it didn't work out because the parents said it's because he was black, or because he's not Arab, or because he's not Palestinian, or because he's not this and that, right? And it's just like, okay, that's true, but is everybody like this? No. Is every single family, even if there are people that are hard-headed like this, I'm pretty sure there's somebody that's willing to accept you, right? Yeah. So it's not the end of the world, okay?
Which I don't see a problem with. I honestly don't see a problem with somebody rejecting you, right?
It happens.
If they say you're this culture, you're a good guy, great guy, right? But we just don't understand each other. You don't know our language. We can't, because a lot of cultures marry into families, right? Yeah, right. So who's your family? Like a sister will bring a revert, and the family's thinking about this man's family. They're disbelievers.
Connections.
How can we? Right. So there's bigger things than just. In many cultures, you marry into families. You don't marry in this society, you marry that one person. Absolutely. Right? You ask that person, do you want to get married? They say yes. You guys go on a honeymoon. You guys are married. Yeah. You never worry about the other family, nothing. Yeah. But in most cultures, like the Somali culture, the Arab culture, you marry into families. Yeah. So the families, it's important for them to know who's that family, who's this guy, can we rely on him? Because they're giving you, most of the time, they're giving you their daughter. Absolutely. Right? And this is because they're holding their daughter at a very high level. Yeah,
it comes with the whole package.
Yeah, she's a superstar.
I mentioned before that, parents will shoot down a suitor for artificial reasons. Okay. Now, we have to level with each other at some point. Okay. When you say, okay, your culture, you don't understand our culture. Well, how do they get to know each other? Okay, they understand each other. I think that's the most important part. In our society, the society that we live in today, we don't have the luxury to shoot down people for reasons like that, right? Say, well, our culture, we're going to get to know each other one way or another. Yeah. Okay, and I think even there's beneficial parts of two people from two different ethnicities marrying into each other. These are one of the practical ways to wash away sort of like racism and all
many different things.
Because when the babies come, then people start looking differently, and they say, hey, you know what? They start to embrace more and look at it. So it becomes a practical way. Now, I understand the culture is important to many people, and you should preserve your lineage, all those things. That's really important. Have that, keep that. But in the society we live in, the Western society that we live today, that
shouldn't be emphasized.
I feel like yes, it should not be emphasized. Okay, and you should get it where it comes. Yeah, right, because it's already hard as it is. It's very difficult
find a spouse.
Yeah, so then when people are, oh well, you're not from our culture, we're not gonna, it's like, okay, back home maybe you can, because it makes more sense. You're in one area. But when you have everybody in the melting pot,
it's tough.
It's just like, even I think that will cause probably more problems.
For sure.
The Prophet ﷺ, he said that. He says, if a man comes to you and he goes and he seeks the hand of your daughter to marry, and he has a good akhlaq, and he has good character, he has good deen. And if you reject his proposal, and there's nothing else wrong with that besides just he doesn't have our culture, or he doesn't practice our, we're not the same people, then there will be corruption, fasad on the earth. That's what the Prophet ﷺ said, right? So when we look at these traditions holistically and we apply fiqh as it is, right, based on different times and place, the area that we're living in today, we should really put aside that sort of criteria, right? Although we may really want it, because there are bigger harms that may come about.
I see Idris thinks that culture should be.
Let me clarify. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Can I clarify?
Yeah, clarify. Before I jump on. I'm gonna separate you guys.
He brought a good point, but here's the thing. Right?
But these are important things.
There's a story. And I'm not going to go into detail. Everybody knows the story. Everybody heard of it. There was a man by the name of Sahabi by the nickname of Julaybib. Right? Julaybib. The Prophet ﷺ asked the man, can I marry your daughter? Can I have your daughter? And so the man thought he was talking about the Prophet ﷺ. But he says, not for me, it's for Julaybib. What did the man say? He said, let me go ask her mother. So her mother, he told her the same thing. The Prophet ﷺ wants our daughter's hand in marriage. She got excited. Oh my God, the Prophet. But he says, not for him. It's for Julaybib. Wallahi, no, because Julaybib, if you don't know, he wasn't the most handsome, he wasn't the richest. So this woman, the Prophet ﷺ asked. The man could have said no. That's what that tells us, right? So in a society where we live, where there's so many different cultures, there's so many different things, right? I'm saying I understand. I'm not talking about I don't want to marry you because you're this race. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about I would rather have my daughter, right? If it's first of all, it's the daughter. If it's we live in a stage where if it's the daughter's, choice, then parents really don't have a choice. But I'm saying, if it's the parents' choice, the parents would prefer someone they know.
Of course,
not even tribal. It's just someone they know. Like they would marry their best friend's daughter or son to their, because this is someone they know. This is someone they can trust. Right. When you're doing when you're going to a job, what do they require? A background check.
For sure.
Right. You're not going to tell me a job is more important than your daughter, right? Your daughter, you want her to marry somebody that you got the background check on lock. So that's what we're saying. And most of the time it happens to be people that are your own culture and your own race. Right? The only thing that cannot be discussed is religion. Right?
Absolutely.
But in terms of culture and stuff, I think everybody has the choice. Hey, I respect your culture. I have nothing against your culture. But I just want my daughter to marry somebody that I know.
Which is fine. We got to move to the next point.
I totally understand this. That's preferences. Preferences are fine, right? But there are some characteristics and qualities that need to be given haqq over others.
Of course,
right?
And I get that.
That is not a big one. I think you would agree with me on that. But you're looking at the elephant from a different angle than what I'm looking at it, right? And when we look at the sort of the obligations that we have on our Muslim community today, I think we do agree. I understand where you come from.
No, I get both of where you guys come from. And this is the big debate with that happens internally within families. Right. Some people will look at the time we live in today. If somebody's actually ready to get married and they found somebody, get them married. And then a lot of other families, there are deep things that are important to them, like culture, connection, deep. And I know families there that have cross-cultural marriages, and it's tough sometimes, and some worked out. And then you have families that have same culture, same everything, and it's still, there's drama, fights, a lack of understanding, everything.
As long as the religion is not compromised, alhamdulillah.
This is the foundation to the next point.
Absolutely.
Okay? There is confusion in the practice of marriage when it comes to actually forget culture, forget race, forget everything. Now, there's a sensitive conversation about even deen. About even deen. The Prophet ﷺ said people are married for four things. For wealth. All right, two people might end up marrying each other because one has a
same big count.
You know what I mean? Really wealthy. Status.
That's real.
You know, beauty. Right? Sister, mashallah, she looks great. Brother looks great. You know what I mean? They're like, this is something that's maybe naturally in all people. Everybody's looking for somebody that they're really attracted to, which attraction is very important. But then the Prophet ﷺ, and then the fourth one was deen, and the Prophet ﷺ gave the advice, really the most important thing, choose the one with the deen. But then now we have in the culture society that we live in today, you even see sometimes quote unquote some Muslims advocating and pushing the fact that it's okay to marry a person who's a non-Muslim.
You know why that is? It all goes back to the gender equality issue, right?
Yeah.
Because in Islam, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm no sheikh, I'm no scholar, but a man can marry, even though it's not preferred, he can marry outside of Islam.
Yeah.
A woman can't.
Yes.
So they're against this. Again, correct me if I'm wrong.
People of the book. People of the book only.
Yeah. People of the book, Christians and Jews only.
So
Men, yeah. But women, only Muslims.
Only
Right?
Muslim, yes.
So they're against this. Right?
Yeah.
And
it's not fair. It's not fair.
Yeah, that's what they'll say, right? They'll use those terms. So that's why people kind of, and it's with the wave. It's in line with what's going on around the world today.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's some so-called scholars that can't differentiate. It's important for scholars. I'm not a scholar.
Yeah.
Right. None of it. So it's important for scholars to clarify these things.
Yeah. Whether
Whether they take hits for it, whether people.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But this is the things that are foundational. The deen is very important, whether they like it or not. But you have to I remember one speaker was asked, very high profile guy, I'm not gonna say his name, but he was asked about, somebody asked him in the audience, can Muslim women marry non-Muslim men? And he completely avoided the question. He was like, early on, Muslim men and women can marry, and then but now Muslim men can marry outside of Muslim. Outside of the religion. Nobody asked that. They were asked specifically about what?
Women.
The women.
Yeah.
But he avoided that question.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of our sisters, I don't blame them, because the people they listen to are taking them over here, and
confusion.
so very confused. So may Allah guide us all. But like I said, some things are black and white.
Yeah.
Right. And like I said, I'm no scholar. If you don't trust me, go to a scholar.
Yeah.
Right. There's just the religion has foundation, has principles.
Clear cut.
And as far as I know, last time I checked, a Muslim woman cannot marry a non-Muslim man.
And this is one of the reasons why this is, because a man is considered the responsible and the person in charge of the family, right? A person who's the protector. That's the key word I should have used, protector of the family. And whose last word is the most important word, because even when two people are together, one of them has to be a leader. If us three travel together, we have to choose a leader, right? But in the liberal secular society we live in today, they don't want leadership in family, but they want leadership in everywhere else. You go to a school, there's a leader, there's a principal. You go to a college, there's a leader. You go to a nation, a country, there's a president, right? In every organization, there's a leader. In every system, there's a leader. The only system they don't want there to be a leader is the family.
The most important system.
The most important way. When it comes to that, they want to say, hey, you are 50-50 in everything, and one person can make a decision, and then that's it, and that could ruin the whole family. In big things like deciding on how to whether to have a family or not. Sometimes abortion, sometimes many different things, you know what I mean? It's really sensitive. But the key thing is, from the hikmah of Allah, and maybe this is a big topic that we can dedicate a whole another podcast to, is marriage and deen, how those two really are putting together. One way is, if you look at it from the corner of the man being a protector, this is very important, and that man has a lot of influence in the family. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then a man has a lot of power and responsibility given to him, that he feeds his family, is in charge of their shelter, their food, their well-being. And so, that being said, even the Muslim man is not encouraged to marry a non-Muslim woman. When you look deep into that, you realize this is a very, very sensitive topic. One of my students at the halaqah told me that her father married a non-Muslim woman, and he was young, in his maybe early 20s or something like that. He ended up marrying this lady, and then he thought she was going to become a Muslim after. We all go, when people do this, they all go in there with this like some hope, some possibility, right? When it doesn't work out, they get heartbroken. This person didn't become a Muslim, it didn't work out, and now the situation is tough. They went separate ways, went back to his country, found out she was pregnant. He came back, now they're divorced. The child, she's taken the child's rights, and now that child's in his 20s and he's not a Muslim.
He's her religion,
Subhanallah. Look at the responsibility and the kind of really danger that comes from that. Uthman, what are your thoughts on this topic and how the liberal secular movement is pushing this agenda of you can marry whoever you want? and how it's impacted Muslims.
People really think we like to pick on certain genders and we hate sisters and those things. But wallahi, our heart, we cry. We cry. Our heart is crying out for our women, our sisters, our mothers, our wives, that they have been targeted today, so aggressively.
Subhanallah.
They have been made a commodity to be bought and sold so easily.
Yeah.
Right? They sell them ideologies, they buy them so easily. It sounds nice. And this is what Shaitan, he does. He beautifies, right, the a'mal that you're doing. And he gives it to you. He shows you first, and then he says, okay, and you're thinking, wow, that's amazing. That's lit. That's hot. That's popping. And then you just embrace it, right? And where this comes down to is the lack of knowledge, lack of foundation. Everything that we mention, all of the so-called controversies in our community goes back to foundation.
Yeah.
Why is it that a Muslim man can marry out of not only Muslims but Ahlul Kitab, Jews and Christians?
Not every woman. We made that clear,
every
right?
woman.
We made that clear, right?
There's some Muslim men that are ignorant today, and they say, well, they can marry non-Muslim women. No. That's not what the Quran says.
Yeah.
Only from Ahlul Kitab. Right.
When you say Ahlul Kitab, what do you mean, Uthman?
The Jews and the Christians.
Yes, and they have to be really Jewish and Christian.
Yeah, right. Not know this person off the street.
Come on,
they don't know the Lord's Prayer. Nothing, right? Nothing like that. So
she got to be going to the church every week. So if she missed 1 week, she can't. It's a no go.
But even that today is risky.
Very risky.
It's very risky. And we're gonna get to that. But all of this is foundational, because why are you going to go pick at rules that are mentioned in the Quran solidly for 14 centuries?
Yeah.
They've been carried traditionally by all scholars, right? Consensus of this ummah that men cannot or women cannot marry non-Muslim men, right? But why? Because in this society today, our women, our men, our brothers and sisters are ignorant, and they think these things are up for debate. And they think it's fiqh perspective. Yeah. Why are we doing that? Why do we accept these sort of rules? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said so. Yeah. And this goes back to obeying Allah. You're not going to obey Allah if you don't know who Allah is. Yeah. The foundations are gone. Yeah. Right? When wonderful books like Usul al-Thalatha and all these books, they cover the foundation. This is what you start at as Talib al-Ilm. You start with these books, right? Yeah. Because you need to know what you're doing, why you're here, what you're doing it for, right? Who's your creator, what your creator wants from you. You need to know all those things before you go and build these foundations. Yeah. How are you going to go to the 5th floor when there's no 1st floor? How are you going to go and up the elevator, right? Yeah. Where the 1st floor is completely gone. You're not climbing anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
Exactly.
But these are the things that people are building their foundation. First of all, the foundation that they're making is batil. Ma bunya ala al-batil fahuwa batil. Yeah. Whatever that you build upon falsehood, it's falsehood. Yeah. And it's gonna break and it's gonna fall. It's gonna wither away, right? But this is what we're trying to mention. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the Deen al-Islam will persevere, will transcend over all ways of life. Yeah. Right? Because of these solid foundations. Yeah. Because the reality that we have is objective, and that is from the one who created us.
And one thing to add to that quickly. Yeah. A lot of believers, a lot of Muslims, they're practicing. Some are not practicing, but they respect Islam, where they're like, hey, if this is haram and it's in the Quran, then I respect it. Yeah, right. But they might not be practicing, they might not pray, but they respect Islam, right? So one thing is, the Prophet 1400 years ago, he says, Islam started off as something strange. Yeah. It's gonna go back to as something strange. So what?
Give glad tidings.
Give glad tidings to the strangers. So we live in a time where people who speak in accordance with what Allah has said and the Prophet said, they're strangers. Like, this guy is crazy. This guy's
how can you think this way? Yeah.
It's expected. Yeah. Right. Once you actually know, and it's something that is not shocking to us. Yeah. But the point is, we're still gonna stick to it. Yeah. Right. We might be the strangers. We might sound ridiculous, but we're gonna stick to it. Yeah. Because this is from Allah and it's not ridiculous. Yeah. This is divine word from Allah and the Prophet. So never lose hope.
Yeah.
No matter how many people are against it.
Yeah.
Or how many people are for it. It's not a trend. Islam is not a trend. Right?
Yeah.
So it's a way of life. So it's here forever.
It's very unfortunate, but many young Muslims today have been kind of, psychologically reprogrammed by these movements, the liberal, secular kind of movements, and the agenda is fulfilled. And you will see many Muslims, like what happened in the past few weeks. Was it a week and a half ago when a very famous person who said that she married somebody that we all thought, we all knew was a non-Muslim. And you saw Muslims, just some young Muslims who you might see. It was such a surprise to see that some people were like, "Oh, I'm happy for you," and some other guy saying, "Oh, we definitely need to support you in everything that you do." Subhanallah. So there seems to be something wrong here, and many times it's a lot has to do with Uthman, what you said, and exactly what you said, Idris. There is lack of foundations, lack of clarity. Many times the people these young Muslims are listening to don't give enough clarity to these young Muslims on really how to navigate through these things. One advice to the young Muslim is do not ever let your emotions and your desires and temptations, whether they're sexual or not, take control of you.
Yeah.
Once those two things take control of you, you will make hasty choices, hasty decisions that you will regret forever. Right? First, when you look at somebody, the first steps to marriage is a desire of lust. Two people look at each other, they're really, physically motivated, and they don't think of the bigger picture of the things that come out of really having a family. And that's why you see many people in the wrong situations and families tearing apart, divorce rates, going up through the roof, and so on and so on. It's because from the foundational advices, right? That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us to whatever, that the Prophet ﷺ told us to do, we do it, and whatever, he told us not to do, we stay away from it. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ. Allah says, say to them, O Nabi, O Muhammad, that if you want Allah to love you, what you need to do is follow, فَاتَّبِعُونِي, follow me, and Allah will love you and forgive you for your sins. So the sunnah is very, very crucial in this topic. If these foundations and the clarity from the ulama, this is a department that's so sensitive. If they don't do their job, it's really big. Go ahead.
There's a saying, when the people of the truth stopped correcting the people of falsehood, automatically the people of falsehood assume they were right. Assume they were correct, right? When you don't correct somebody, if a little kid right now is doing 1 × 1 = 7, and you don't correct him, his entire life he's gonna think 1 × 1 = 7. Right. So, like I said, the people that are the so-called scholars and the speakers and the people that everybody's listening to, if they don't clarify these issues, then the next generation will be doomed, and so it'll keep going like this. But one thing that we mentioned, like the excuses people make, right? Oh, I go to college, I can't. One of the things about marriage is it's a companionship, right? One thing people don't understand is once you get married, you have a partner. Right? You have somebody, a life partner and if you pick the right life partner, right? Like you said, for the religion, for the deen, for that purpose. If you marry somebody for money, coronavirus hit, you're out of work, you don't have money, she's out too.
She's out too,
right? Or he's out. If you marry somebody for looks, you'll always find somebody better looking than this person.
And they're going to get old. They're going to wither
Not
away.
Even old. Tomorrow you can see somebody better looking. It's not a lie. Right? There's no chance that you're going to tell me you found the most beautiful, right? There's always somebody that is better looking. So if you find, you'll always look for something else.
And lineage.
Right? If you look for lineage, there's somebody better in lineage. So, but when it comes to religion, if things like this happen and you have somebody that's telling you rely on Allah. Imagine you have somebody in your household telling you rely upon Allah. We don't have anything, but we have Allah. This, you never lose hope. You never go into depression. Your family is together. Right. So that's why we're saying marry somebody for their religion, because there's going to be tough times ahead.
Absolutely.
Marriage is not easy. So when you marry somebody, they get you through that. Right. A lot of young people today, they go to college and they're stressed out. Honestly, some people went mentally ill because of college. Right. Had they had somebody with them where they come home at night and they talk to each other, how's your day? You know how much that takes off of you. And how's your day? Right. And it's halal, and you don't have to worry about, is my mom watching me here? None of that. It's your own house. Right. You and your spouse, and you guys are talking about how's your day. You know how much stress that relieves. Right. And so now you have a purpose. You're about to give up college. Your spouse pushes you. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Right. Your studies, your student knowledge. Don't give up. You're doing this, so you have somebody there that is gonna help you. That's what marriage is about. Marriage is not just about Instagram likes and honeymoons, and that's not marriage is about going through in life with a partner.
Yeah.
And it should be, your intention should be that this person is the one that I'm gonna go through life with. Some brothers, these two we're not gonna get into that, but this person is someone that's gonna be there for you, every time, and you guys are gonna build the empire, and that should be your mentality. So college shouldn't stop you. Things like this, it only should really help you.
For
it
sure.
motivates you.
For sure.
So if that's not an excuse. We have many people that graduated while they're married. and they have kids. Yeah. So
wow.
So it's not the excuses are dead. You know.
Subhanallah.
So
actually, Jazakallah khair. But even I would say, just wrapping up the point that the marriage, a person, your life, if you want it to be successful and you want it to be sound with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your foundation must be sound with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want your marriage to be successful, your marriage must have the foundation of the deen.
Yeah.
That must be the most important thing. And if these foundations are gone, because these people, many people who have an issue, they say, I'm in college, that's why I can't marry. Well, they look at marriage like another occupation, like a job that you have to go and have to apply for it. And, but when you look at it like the way you mentioned, right, it totally changes everything. Yeah. When you look at it as a life partner who's there with you through good times and bad times, right? Yeah. All the way down to the grave. That is amazing. Yeah. Right? You see what I'm saying? And you have that support system. Because your family's not going to always want to be there. Your mom can't hold your hand everywhere you go, right? No. You can't. It's just not going to happen. Your dad's going to get tired of you just, go get out of here.
Or your guy friends.
Yeah, or your guy friends.
You're not going to open up with your guy friends like that.
Your guy friends are never going to be able to open up with you the way your spouse. And this is vice versa.
Yeah, of course.
Vice versa, right? The way you open up, it's just not, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Okay? Because we see this in the Sunnah. We see this, in the marriage of the Prophet ﷺ with his wives. And the way he deals with them, of course, he's our Mawla, and he's our, the one that we are supposed to follow.
Sure.
Right? He's the perfect example. Uswatun hasana. That's what the Quran says about the best, the most moderate example for us to follow. None of the extremes. So if we're actually following that, we're not going to have any confusions. Even though you have a small fights, right? Or small issues, you can always go back to a strong foundation. Yeah. But even if you have big fights, go back to a strong foundation. Yeah. But if you have no foundation at all, or you have weak foundation, or you have bottom foundation,
it's gonna be
small issues become a huge thing. Yeah. The families come, fights, no salams. When I see you in the streets, it's done. Yeah. You did this, divorce. The whole community knows about it. So it's because Allah fitna, the best thing is to have everything foundational, Islam, the Quran, and the Sunnah.
And in all honesty, it's this whole dating thing is a waste of time, waste of energy, right? It's like you're married for a certain time, because your heart is married to this person. Yeah. When you're dating, right, you're thinking about this person, so it takes a whole effect on you. Oh. But then you find out, you go through a breakup or whatever. It didn't last, then you basically suffered a divorce. Basically. Right? And so you're actually going to be depressed. I like that way. A divorce when you're not married. Yeah. Right? A divorce is not marriage, which is tough. Because a divorce, when you're married to somebody, is tough already. So imagine you're not married to this person and you're feeling the same.
Exhausting.
Right? Yeah. Exhausting. And now you got to, the sad part is now you got to start over. All over. Right? Yeah. Whether it's the haram or the halal way. Yeah. So now you're doubting yourself. Can I trust this person? Can I trust her?
Trust issues. You see people on Instagram and social media, you just got to love yourself, girl. You ain't got to worry about nobody. Or you have all these nice quotes. So, leave all these people. They're not for you.
SubhanAllah. This is the results when people choose a lifestyle that's not pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of the damage things that comes from it, like heartbreak, damage. You lose control. You get more sensitive towards life about everything else. You're not willing to take any more risks. It's just so damaging. And growing up, I think we've all seen this. I think we all went to public school. Maybe I went to a private Islamic school. Actually, this guy went to the ghetto San Diego schools. Yeah. He went to 5-star
Diego.
ghetto. Just kidding. How was San Diego though? It was good. But anyways, what I'm saying
That's
is,
a whole nother podcast.
yeah, what are you talking about? What I'm saying is, even growing up, when we saw the people who used to date and practice this lifestyle, it was so damaging.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, it was so damaging.
It's just depressing watching it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like
and I remember these
Again?
guys just and girls just playing these games with
in
one
and
another.
out, in and out,
And so many
in
people
and
are-
out.
And unfortunately, I think it affects the girls more.
Of course.
I think the girls are actually genuine.
Of course.
Right? When
And
they're
sincere
even when
towards
they're
this.
dating, they're sincere.
Yeah.
But the guy is just like, nah, she's dumb.
Interest.
That's
He has
really what
motives.
they're saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, interest.
So-
Yo, I was just with her
Yeah,
type of thing.
Exactly, and he'll talk about his friends to you, and so
Very unfortunate.
it's very sad. So as sisters have everything to lose, right?
Yeah.
And you all know how society is, right?
Yeah.
If something like that happens, what guy is gonna marry? You have to worry about that now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's how society is.
Yeah.
When a man doesn't really have to worry about that. So
Yeah.
if you know all these odds are against you, right? You got to try to avoid
Yeah.
the things you can avoid, right? All this heartbreak, all this sadness, depression. You can avoid that stuff.
Yeah. To conclude, this was a long session, and this is all intro to marriage and dating, all these type of things that we're dealing with today. We didn't even get into the aftermath and so on and so forth. But in closing statements, we want to thank everybody, and it was really an amazing discussion. Give us your feedback on what you guys thought and how we can make this more productive and really more beneficial to all of us.
Oh,
And-
just one thing.
Go ahead,
I'll just really quick dua.
Go ahead.
We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help and assist and protect our sisters and our brothers, young brothers out there who are, potentially lost. May Allah guide them back.
I mean, yeah.
Because this is, a very, very sensitive time
Yeah.
and a sensitive society, and these things, we don't know which direction it'll take, but we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for protection and guidance
I mean,
in these times.
perfect way to close. وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We'll see you guys next week.
وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمن بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمن